Good evening. It is 6 p.m. and we will begin this committee of the whole meeting on Monday, October 6th. Firstly, we'll start with the land acknowledgement. With gratitude, the Township of Leeds and the Thousand Islands acknowledges these lands and waters are the traditional territory of the Algonquin, Mississaugas, Mohawk, and Huron-Wendat. To recognize the role the township must play in truth and reconciliation, we also acknowledge the displacement of these peoples. Additionally, the township would like to respectfully acknowledge the First Nations, Inuit, and Métis people who also call this place home. We make this land acknowledgement to honor the Indigenous ancestors who have stewarded these lands and waters since time immemorial. First item on the agenda is adoption, moved by Councillor Mabey, seconded by Deputy Mayor Fody, that the agenda be adopted as circulated. Seeing no hands up, I'll call the question. All those in favor? All those opposed? And it is carried. Next item is declaration of pecuniary interest and general nature thereof. Does anybody have an interest to declare? Go ahead, Ms. Kelman.
Thank you, Your Worship. I need to declare a conflict for 8.2 and 9.2 due to a familial relationship.
Thank you. Any other conflicts that need to be declared? Seeing none, we'll move forward with number 5, which is closed session, and we do not have a closed session or need to rise and report. So we'll move on to delegations, and we have Mr. Ron Dodds presenting to speak to council regarding his request to waive penalty and interest from the tax account. Please come forward to the podium. Thank you.
Oh, can you hear me?
We can.
Good. Okay. Sorry about the gravelly voice. Thank you, Madam Mayor and distinguished councilors, and to Michelle for organizing the meeting for me and helping me so much to get things organized. I'll try to make this as brief as I can, but briefly, I did not receive tax bills for the years 2021 through 2025 because the last address on file with the township was outdated. We had mailed redirected through Canada Post for several years and believed all necessary address changes had been made, but it appears that this one inadvertently was missed. The township began assessing interest and penalties from 2021 until earlier this year. In fact, there were 128 line items for penalties and interest on my account bill. It has been acknowledged that the current accounting system at the township is older and has been considered for upgrade over the past number of years. But in total, over this time, I was assessed $5,870.54 in fees and penalties. And while I understand that it's ultimately my responsibility as a property owner to update my mailing address and pay the property taxes on a timely basis, I respectfully request that the township waive and refund these charges for the following reasons. In Ontario, municipalities are responsible for issuing property tax bills, and there are clear legal expectations around how and where they send these bills. When a municipality does not have a current address for a property owner, it must still make reasonable effort to provide notice. These can include flagging the account, attempting to locate a forwarding address, if one is provided by Canada Post, trying to cross-reference other records such as utility accounts, electoral rolls, or voter lists. But as importantly to that, we have computers now, and Google is an ultimate way of finding people. And I know that perhaps that's not the thing that we do all of the time, but if you did a simple Google search on Ron Dodds, you would instantly find me located in the Toronto area in a job that I had held there for 16 years with a phone number and an easy means of being able to contact me to tell me that my account was in fact past due. And also, when I entered the room with my wife earlier today, we looked around and we had actually been in this room for an OMB appeal in 2018. For that, there were numerous communications, email and otherwise, that went back and forth between not only the township, but the OMB and us to arrange the findings and the time and date for the agenda. So there was, in fact, a track for us to be located. The municipality was aware that mailing addresses on file was outdated, but failed to make, in my mind, any reasonable effort to verify the correct address or to follow up on return correspondence. Despite having alternative ways to contact me, they did not use them. This resulted in an ongoing situation, again, in my opinion, of unfairness and spanning over several years. As an example of a municipality making reasonable efforts to contact a taxpayer, I was in the Toronto area. I live in Toronto, and I was walking around, and on Coldstream Avenue, there was a notice affixed to a garage door. And the notice that was affixed to the garage door clearly stated that the owners of the house were in violation because they hadn't cut their lawn. I guess they couldn't get a hold of whoever the owners were. There was nobody at the house, but they affixed that. And I'm just saying, as an alternate means of getting a hold of me, it would have been very easy to put something on my cottage or to make a point of saying, you're in arrears with your taxes. I mean, 5 years is a long time to be in arrears. Given the critical nature of the property tax obligations, the lack of alternate means of communication played, in my mind, again, substantial role in this oversight. Also, we were bingo in the middle of COVID-19 on about the 20th of March, 2020. COVID-19 happened, and many of the freedoms of driving, communicating, and being able to get around in the province, and people coming to work or working, unless you were necessarily a person that was required, like a doctor or a mechanic or something, it wasn't a necessary role, so you didn't have to come to work. So that certainly was a disruption at the time, and it did, in fact, disrupt daily lives, communication, administration processes. As such, the challenges posed by the pandemic should be recognized as a mitigating factor in assessing the reasonableness of my actions or inactions during the time. I became aware of the outstanding taxes and penalties after I contacted the Office of the Deputy Treasurer in June of this year. I took the initiative to inquire why I hadn't seen a bill. I have properties. I don't have mortgages on the properties. My bank doesn't call me to say you've got a tax bill and you haven't paid it. So over the course of time, I had no other way of finding out other than calling the office here. And at the time, I talked to the deputy treasurer, and I was advised that I owed $25,000. $5,800 of that was, in fact, in penalties and in interest. I understand the tax bill. I paid them both right away. As soon as I found out, within days, the amount was paid and it was looked after. So, and I have to bring to everyone's attention that my family bought this property on the north shore of Gananoque Lake in 1958. So it's not like we just appeared. We've been here for a long time. We know the Nashes. We know a lot of the councillors. We lived next door to Frank when he was the mayor here. Just numerous places. I worked at as a fishing guide on Gananoque Lake, so we touched a lot of people in the community. And I don't know that Ron Dodds' name is a good name or a bad name, but the reality is I think that I could have been contacted or found, and the cottage had a phone number. The cottage had an address that's been there for decades. So I'm just saying that there could have been some other ways and means to get it resolved. So I understand under Section 345(1) of the Municipal Act, Council has the discretion to reduce or forgive late payment and penalty charges where it deems appropriate. In light of the circumstances that I just outlined, I respectfully request that the Council take a look at my situation and provide some leniency. Thank you for your time. Appreciate it. And I know that your agenda is full, so thank you. Any questions?
Any questions for the presenter? Go ahead, Deputy Mayor, and then Councillor Maybe.
Thank you, Your Worship. Through you, Mr. Dodds, you said this started in 2021 with the calendar year 2021, the new taxation year. Is that
Yes. Well, I've got the bills here in front of me. Can you just look up? So the last bill that I paid was in 2020, in August of 2020, and
Okay.
all of the ones from then on attracted the interest and penalties. So you can see the pages and pages of notations on your accounts showing Mr. Dodds is being penalized and he's got a problem with his account.
Okay, thank you. I'll follow up if I may.
Go ahead.
I guess the first thing I'm hearing here, if this time lapse is as presented, and I don't question it is, where's our trip up for tax arrears? Is it not 3 years plus a day?
Go ahead.
Through you, Mayor. So our tax policy is that once it hits 2 years arrears, it can trigger the process for tax sale. Now, that process is a lengthy process.
Right.
At the time of Mr. Dodd's calling, we were in the process of sending final notices that that's where the property was headed.
Okay. Thank you.
Counselor, maybe go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and through you. Mr. Dodds, your bills that you have in front of you that you got up until 2020, they were mailed to where?
These were sent to me by the deputy treasurer here after I requested it. The day that she advised me that it was $25,000, I said, could I get a breakdown, please?
Yes. Previous to that, though, you indicated that you have paid all your taxes up until 2020, correct?
That's correct. The last bill that I paid was in August 2020. Everything since then has been on my account.
And up until 2020, all your tax bills were mailed to your home or cottage or?
So
So may I explain?
this is my
So-
wife. She's my
Sorry.
accountant.
I do all those things.
Yes.
So it was mailed to 224 Coldstream, which was our address a number of years ago. I had that address forwarded by Canada Post for several years, I think up to probably 2020 or 2021. And then at that point, instead of continuing to pay, we thought we had addressed all of the mail that was coming to us from the old address. So that's probably around the time when Canada Post stopped forwarding the mail.
And as a follow-up, so the taxation bills, you had gotten them up until 2020, but then realized or didn't realize that you didn't get any.
Yes,
So
that's
you
correct.
didn't pay them, obviously. So then that's how the arrears occurred. So the address that you had forwarded was from where? Did you say Colburn?
Coldstream.
That was
So is that in Toronto or is it somewhere else?
Yeah, it was all in Toronto. We were still in Toronto at the time, and just somehow everything else got changed and somehow we just did not. This one just
Yeah,
seemed to
it just
slip through the
didn't-
cracks.
Transition properly.
we didn't have anybody knocking at our door for any other bills. Nobody was looking for us. And if you look at my account since 1958, you'll find that it's impeccable. There was never a nuance where in fact that we had not paid on
And
time.
as a follow-up, please.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Madam Mayor, thank you. So had you visited the property from 2020 to 2025 at any time? The
Consistently.
cottage.
Yes. Weekends, summers, holidays, kids, family.
So you were back in the area of the township?
Oh, all the time. It's a winterized home, so we're there most of
Okay.
the summer and some of the winter.
I guess my only thought there is if I was missing my tax bill, I'd be after it.
Well,
Thank you.
Any other comments or questions for the presenter? No? Okay. Well, we thank you very much for the presentation.
thank you very much for your time. Thank you.
Okay. So the next item on the agenda is a planning meeting. So motion is from Councillor Antoine Hartley, seconded by Councillor Maybe, that the public meeting open. All those in favor? All those opposed, and it is carried. So I'll read the preamble. Personal information collected at this public hearing is collected under the authority of the Planning Act and will be used to assist in making a decision on this matter. All names, addresses, opinions, and comments are collected and form part of the minutes which are available to the public. Questions regarding this collection should be forwarded to the Director of Planning. The purpose of public meetings is to present applications in a public forum. Following presentations by applicant or staff, council members will be afforded an opportunity to ask questions for clarification or further information. The meeting will then be open to the public for comments and questions. When you speak, please provide your name and address for recording in the minutes. All comments should be directed to myself, the chair of the meeting. The applicant will be provided the opportunity to address public questions once all members of the public have made their submissions. Following council's decision, notice will be circulated in accordance with the Planning Act. If the specified person or public body would otherwise have an ability to appeal the decision of the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Leeds and the Thousand Islands to the Ontario Land Tribunal, but the specified person or public body does not make oral submissions at the public meeting or make written submissions to the township before the bylaw is passed, the specified person or public body is not entitled to appeal the decision. So we have 3 items on the public meeting: zoning bylaw amendment application D14 2025-005 860 Olejos. I really had to practice that. I don't know if you heard me before. Olejos Lane. So Madam Planner, if you'd like to give the preamble for that.
Thank you, and through you. So this first application is for zoning bylaw amendment, and it's for the property municipally known as 860 Olejos Lane. The property does contain an existing principal unit, and the application is proposing a zone change from the rural zone and shoreline residential zone to a rural special exception zone to facilitate the development of an additional dwelling unit on the property as a detached building. The additional dwelling unit is proposed to have a footprint of approximately 120 square meters, plus a 50 square meter attached uncovered deck. Site-specific zoning relief is requested through the application from the minimum 10-meter setback to a private right-of-way. The additional dwelling unit is proposed to have a setback of 3.8 meters from Olejos Lane. In terms of notice for this public meeting, it has been provided in accordance with the Planning Act, and staff to date have not received any correspondence regarding the application. Thank you.
Discussion or questions on this application? I have no hands up. Do we have any folks online that might be? Is there anyone online that would like to speak to this application? Please use the raise your hand function. I have Matthew Linton. Please go ahead, Matthew.
Oh, can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Perfect. Just wanted to thank the township and wanted to thank Lindsay and Marnie for helping us through this application. And if anybody has any further questions, please feel free to reach out and we can answer anything.
Perfect. I see no hands up at this point, so I think you're in the clear for now. Oh, I apologize, Deputy Mayor Fody.
Thank you, Your Worship, and through you. It's just a clarification from some of us old guys that have lived in that area all my life. It's referred to as the Gananoque River. To put it in perspective, this is in between Red Horse, west of Black Rapids, not that far west, might I add, and Gananoque Lake. All of us locals refer to that whole system through there as the Lost Bay area. The Crank is well known. I mean, anybody that's traveled that knows the Crank. If you don't, you'll find it when you run ashore. But I just thought that was different, and that's fine. I mean, somebody may have used Google Earth, and that whole system was tried to be renamed a number of years ago, including the waterway from the outlet through to Gananoque at Marble Rock. That also was tried to be renamed as Gananoque River. But it doesn't affect this application. I'm just throwing it out there for anybody that might be confused where on the Gananoque River system this is located. Thank you.
Any further comments or questions? We have no hands up, so thank you very much for that first item, 8.1. We'll move on to 8.2, zoning bylaw amendment application D14 2025-008 108 Russell Road, and Councillor Kelman has left the room for the duration of the discussion. So we have Madam Planner.
Thank you. This zoning bylaw amendment application is related to a provisionally approved consent application, file number B34-25. Through the consent application, a total of just over 2 hectares was severed from the subject property municipally known as 108 Russell Road. Condition number 4 of that provisionally approved consent states that the retained lands are rezoned to a special exception agriculture zone to prohibit a dwelling from being developed on the retained lands in the future. So the purpose of this application is to satisfy that condition. The application is proposing an agricultural special exception AG-14 zone to preclude any future residential development on the portion of the retained lands that is currently zoned AG zone. Notice of this public meeting was provided in accordance with the Planning Act, and staff have not received any comments to date with respect to the application. Thank you.
Can we check our online participants? We have 2 folks. If you are looking to speak to this application, please use the raise your hand function. Okay, any questions from council at all? Go ahead, Deputy Mayor Fody.
Thank you, Your Worship, and through you. I'm assuming that the pipeline would have been notified of this, and also I assume there was no negative reaction from them. It doesn't really affect them at all, this application, but I'm just curious, does pipeline get notified in a case like this?
Okay. Oh, hi, Tracy. Sorry, I didn't realize who it was. You have to, we can't hear you and nobody online, so if you can step up to the microphone. Thank you.
Is that better? Okay. Yes, the pipeline was referred and they have the setbacks, they've asked that the setback be included in the bylaw of 7 meters for no principal building or structure. So the definition of dwelling is obviously different, so everything's covered.
Right.
So
Okay.
you're okay with that?
Well, I've been okay since I read the application. I was just curious that pipeline would be notified because of their easement right away. No, my comments while I'm speaking, if I may, I've driven by this a couple of million times in my lifetime. I know the property well. This speaks right into even the province's goal of protecting agricultural property and agricultural lands. It doesn't get, excuse me, it doesn't get any simpler than this. Tend to remove the dwelling and leave the agricultural land, and the application is to make sure that nobody can build on that agricultural land. So that makes me happy. Thank you.
Any further comments? Go ahead, Councillor Maybe.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. And through you, I was just curious, the rest of the land that's not being changed, why was it not included?
We've got 2 planners fighting over it. I'll go to this planner.
The application for the zone change applies only to the existing portion of the property that's zoned currently agriculture.
Okay.
There's other lands outside of that to the north that are zoned floodplain and a small portion zoned rural.
Okay. Excellent. Thank you.
Okay. Any other comments or questions? Thank you very much for answering. Okay, so we have no hands up online still, I don't believe, so we're good. So we'll move forward with 9.3 zoning bylaw amendment application D14 2025-010 439 Thousand Isles Parkway. I've got ahead of myself. Okay, Madam Planner.
Thank you. This is a zoning bylaw amendment application for the property municipally known as 439 Thousand Islands Parkway. The application is proposing to change the portion of the property currently zoned tourist commercial to a shoreline residential special exception zone in the township zoning bylaw. The property is currently under construction as a tourist lodging establishment with an accessory dwelling unit on the upper floor of a detached accessory building. The owners are seeking to change the use of the property to residential. Zoning relief is requested in this application with respect to the maximum height provision for an accessory structure, to permit a sleeping cabin within the upper floor of a detached accessory structure, and also to permit an office studio space in the upper floor of a second detached accessory building. This application is under site plan control, so should the application for zoning bylaw amendment be approved, there would be a modification to that site plan control agreement to reflect the change from commercial to residential use on the property. Notice of this public meeting was provided in accordance with the Planning Act, and staff have not received any written correspondence with respect to the application. Thank you.
I have Counselor Lackey. Anyone else want to get in line? Counselor, maybe. Go ahead, Counselor Lackey.
Thank you, Your Worship, and through you to one of the planning department. This particular property, I understand by the zoning change will reduce the value of the taxes per year if we're going from commercial shoreline back to residential. That means we're not collecting as much taxes. Is that correct?
That would be a treasurer question.
Different rate?
Through you, Mayor. Yes, the commercial tax rate is a different ratio, so it is more than the residential tax rate. Yes.
So just for clarification, the property was purchased as commercial shoreline, and that was the proposal. The plans all came in as such, and now that they're almost done, they want to change it. Is this common? I don't understand why we're going down this road.
Through you, I wouldn't say it's common, but it's definitely within the applicant's purview to decide that they want to change the use of the property from one to the other. They're both permitted uses within the rural land use designation. I would note that the applicant is also online and may be able to shed some light on the question in terms of the intended change of use.
Okay. I'm going to collect all the questions and then we'll go to the applicant to answer them. So Counselor, maybe then Deputy Mayor Fody.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and through you. My question is similar to Councillor Lackey in that when this first came to the table, it was for X, and somehow I thought it was a treatment center of some sort or something along
It
that
was a
line.
retreat, I believe.
Retreat or something, yeah. Anyways, treatment or retreat. It's
retreat.
close, you know. So I was actually kind of wondering the same thing. Why are we changing it now when it was for the building permit and to get the property off the ground, basically to the state it is? It was deemed this style of credentials, and now it's being changed. So, and why was it not done then instead of now? That's my question. Thank you.
So I'm going to go to Deputy Mayor Fody and then I'll go to the applicant to answer questions.
Thank you, Your Worship. And through you, I'm going to follow the same line of comments as my colleagues. This came through, or at least it was originally zoned as potential business, and it appears to be asking for a residence, which would it preclude a business? Like, if we change this zoning, would they still be allowed to run a business?
Please. Go ahead, Madam Planner.
Thank you, through you. So there are limited rural home occupation provisions in the zoning bylaw that would permit a small scale business subordinate to the principal residential use of the property. And so that's what you're seeing with the proposed office studio in the smaller detached accessory structure, is to permit that as through the zoning amendment.
Right. And that is, thank you. That is part of the reason I asked the question, because in this packet we've been given, it shows the layout and what the various rooms are for, and it does indicate to some degree business, but we're pulling away with as Councillor Lackey had indicated, it appears we're changing the application of business and softening it to residential, but still want to run a business. And I'll just leave it at that for now.
Okay. Any other questions before I go? I'll let you follow up, Councillor Lackey, and then we'll go to the applicant.
Just a question through you, if I may, Your Worship. Was there any, my memory's not that good, was there any
Variances or
minor
anything?
variances on this property when we began?
We did the original approval?
Yes.
No, there was not.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, so we'll go to the applicants. Okay, go ahead, Julie.
I'm not the applicant. I'm the next door neighbor.
Oh, my apologies. Okay. Sorry, Mr. Preston. We'll recognize Mr. Preston and then we'll go to Julie.
Okay.
Hi. Hi, I'm Mike Preston. I'm the agent for the owner of the property. Ultimately, my client wanted a residential zoning for the property, but at the time we were advised that changing the zoning would result in a whole slew of planning permissions. And my client thought he could achieve what he wanted with the property through the commercial tourist zoning. So we continued on that route. We ended up having to do all the additional planning studies anyways, a site plan control, stormwater management report, environmental impact study, archaeological study. And in the end, the fire code requirements, et cetera, for what we're proposing have become extremely costly and complex. So that spurred on this changing to residential zoning. So it was just going to be a private corporate retreat. My client is CEO of a company and was going to use it in that fashion. So it's essentially just going to be a private residence. So he might conduct his own, work from home type work from there, but not hosting clients or anything like that.
So you're basically saying that this would not be used for business purposes. There would be no business happening on the property.
Correct.
Is this Michael Preston?
Yes.
It is.
Hold on. Hi, am I on now?
I will allow you to ask your question. Sure.
Okay. So my question comes down to the fact that everything that was done the first time around, where they said they were going to be building a certain size building and they went way above and beyond that after the oil spill, after all the problems that they caused, it's kind of bothersome that you're going to now turn around and give them reduced taxes and allow them to change what they were doing when they said they wanted to do that in the beginning anyway, yet they built this colossal building and now they're going to get away with playing another trick on the Lansdowne government. I just think it's a little bit ridiculous that this is going to be allowed to go through again.
Well, there's no decisions made as of yet. That is the purpose of the public meeting, is to gain information in regards to these applications so that we can make the best decision for all parties involved. Further comments or questions? I guess if I had a comment to make, I'll be honest, when I saw this, knowing that the application was originally made as it was tourist commercial, seeing the size of the buildings and the multitude of buildings, I guess I pictured it being a commercial entity because it seemed to fit that need. If you have driven by the property, it does seem a bit weird from a perspective that it would be turned into residential. However, I guess the main burning question I had was already asked by Councillor Lackey regarding the minor variances, if there were any. I guess my main question to the planners would be, if this had have been a residential zoned property, would they have required different variances because it was zoned residential at that time?
Through you, the relief that's being asked for is an increase in height for an accessory structure, as well as permitting a sleeping cabin within a detached accessory building. So that the shoreline residential parent zone that's being proposed does permit a primary residential dwelling as well as a sleeping cabin.
So that is the difference, because because it's zoned currently tourist commercial, it did not require those reliefs, is what you're saying. And now they want to switch it to residential, and that's why the reliefs are required.
Under the initial proposal, the primary structure on the property was to serve as a tourist lodging establishment under the tourist commercial zoning as the corporate retreat. The tourist commercial zone does permit an accessory dwelling unit, which was being constructed in the upper floor of that detached structure. So through the application that's come forward to change the zoning from commercial to residential, staff have done a complete zoning review. Everything is in compliance with the shoreline residential zone, with the exception of the height of the accessory structures, as well as permitting the sleeping cabin within the upper floor of the detached garage at the size it's currently being proposed.
So those are the reliefs requested. I have a follow-up with Councillor Lackey and then Deputy Mayor Fody.
Thank you, Your Worship. Again, for clarification through you, would I be wrong in saying that it was tourist commercial in the beginning because it covered all the things they wanted to do at the time? Now that we're just about done, there's a couple things that they'd like to do that they can't do under tourist commercial that would be better served under residential?
It's the opposite.
The opposite?
It was permitted under the tourist commercial, but now it's not
Right.
permitted under residential, which is why they're asking for relief. Thank you. That's what I've been trying to get to. So Deputy Mayor Fody, go ahead.
Thank you, Your Worship, and through you. First, all I want to say, we don't have to pass this. This could be reapplied for 5 years from now. This isn't something that's under a time frame. I think there's enough questions alluding to the same end result here tonight that
I'm just going to stop you there,
Okay.
Deputy Mayor Fody, because this is the public meeting.
I realize that.
Comments,
right.
but the motion has to be considered afterwards, and you can make those comments
Okay.
at that point.
Fair enough. I'll
Okay.
stop there.
Thank you.
Can I ask a quick question?
You may.
If it's zoned residential, does that mean that they can then turn around and rent them out like apartments and have people living there permanently?
It's not zone multi-residential. It can be, any single family home can be rented out as a rental accommodation, but there's how many units with this, 2 or 3? Go ahead, Madam Planner.
Sorry. Based on the description that Ms. Lambert provided, the main unit or the main structure would be a single-family dwelling unit. It was previously proposed under the commercial zoning to have a separate accessory dwelling. However, the kitchen has been removed from that and it's been turned into a sleep cabin. So there would only be one dwelling on the property that would have a full kitchen and everything. That would be the main building. The other one would just be sleeping cabin. It wouldn't have facilities in it for cooking and preparing food. And the other area is an office area, which would be limited through the zoning.
Okay. So the short answer is it's not going to be, it would have to be, if it was going to be rented out, it would be rented out under one single family dwelling, which any residential property owner has the right to do.
Yeah.
Correct?
Wow.
Okay, I'm nodding of the head.
Look at it.
I'm sorry. Was there a question there?
No, there's no question. Sorry, I have someone on speakerphone who's listening.
Okay, no problem. Any further comments or questions? I have Mr. Preston with his hand up. Please go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention that what we submitted in the beginning, it hasn't increased in size, as the neighbor was mentioning. It's been the same application all along. I just want to clarify that the size of it, as well as of the main residences within the zoning bylaw, whether it was residential or commercial tourism.
Okay.
On the
Thank you for the clarity. Any other questions? Seeing no hands up, I will move forward with the agenda. And we have no further zoning bylaw amendment applications, so we will close the public meeting. Moved by Deputy Mayor Fody, seconded by Councillor Antoine Hartley, that the public meeting be closed. All those in favor? All those opposed? And we're carried. Okay, so we'll move forward with staff reports. Staff reports 9.1 zoning bylaw amendment application D14-2025-005-860 Alejos. I really have to think about that every time I say it. Alejos Lane. Moved by Councillor Maybe, seconded by Councillor Antoine Hartley, that the Committee of the Whole recommends the Council approve zoning bylaw amendment application D14-2025-005 to rezone the property municipally known as 860 Alejos Lane from rural RU zone to rural special exception RU 58 zone in the township zoning bylaw number 07-079, and that the committee of the whole recommends that council further amend bylaw number 07-079 zoning bylaw of the Corporation of the Township of Leeds and the Thousand Islands as amended as per Exhibit E, recommending amending bylaw Schedule A to report number 2025-074, that the committee of the whole recommends that council grant 3 readings and final passage to amending bylaw. Discussion on the motion. Seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor? All those opposed? And it is carried. Next item is 9.2, and Councillor Kelman is leaving the room. Moved by Deputy Mayor Fody, seconded by Councillor Maybe, that the committee of the whole recommends that council approve the bylaw attached to Planning and Development 2025-073 as Exhibit A to rezone the property at 108 Russell Road to a site-specific Ag 14 agricultural zone to prohibit a dwelling from being constructed on the property. Discussion on this motion? I have no hands up. Seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor? All those opposed? And it is carried. Come on back in, Councillor Kelman. Next item up for discussion, moved by Councillor Kelman, seconded by Councillor Lackey, that the committee of the whole recommends that council approve zoning bylaw amendment application D14-2025-010 to rezone the portion of the property municipally known at 439 Thousand Islands Parkway, currently zoned tourist commercial CT zone to shoreline residential special exception RS-63 zone in the township zoning bylaw number 07-079, that the committee of the whole recommends that council further amend bylaw number 07-079 zoning bylaw of the Corporation of the Township of Leeds and the Thousand Islands as amended as per Exhibit F, recommended amending bylaw on Schedule A to report number 2025-075, that the committee of the whole recommends that council grant 3 readings and final passage to the amending bylaw. Motion's on the floor and up for discussion. Deputy Mayor Fody? You'll let it go? Okay. Go ahead, Councillor Maybe.
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor, and through you. One of my questions is, what is the tax difference on the property being
There's no assessed value yet.
no assessed value? Yeah, but is there any ballpark?
Oh,
Thank you. Through you, just from a planning perspective, we can't address tax assessment through planning. It's based on land use planning merits of the proposal. So we haven't addressed taxes in the staff report because we can't address taxes under the planning framework.
Okay. Phil?
difference in the tax rate. It's
Yeah.
basically the planner saying that can't bear any
No.
part of our
Yeah.
decision.
Through you, Mayor, I'd say, so like the commercial tax ratio is about 1.34. So you're paid about 30% more than the residential rate. But in saying that, when MPAC assesses properties, it's based on the Assessment Act, and the Assessment Act looks at various things, including what's actually used. It doesn't necessarily look at zoning per se. It looks at what the property is actually being used for. They don't always line up 100% anyway. So I don't have the property pulled up in front of me to see exactly what the assessment currently is, or what property class it's currently assessed under. But
Well, I guess if we just follow up, commercial opposed to residential, it's two different rates. So there is going to be some sort of cost difference there. You know, it is on the water. It's going to be expensive anyways. But, for me, there is a difference there because, it started out as a commercial property. It was zoned that way. Now it's being asked to be a little different. And the plans, and as I looked at the plans, and I did look at them in detail, it did look like a family, like a single unit, opposed to what I thought we had seen back when we started with this property and the changes that they were going to make to it. So there are some changes in what I remember in the original plan and what we see today. So that's where I'm kind of following with this is, we're changing things, but to whose advantage?
Well, I think that the property owner has the right to change it to whatever they wish. based on planning rules, and like indicated before, we can't make a decision based on the tax rate, whether it's more to us or not. But rather that proper planning procedures have been followed. Anyway, sorry, Deputy Mayor Bodie, go ahead. You don't have anything to add about this? Okay, any other comments or questions? Okay, I'm going to call the question on this. All those in favor of the motion at hand? All those opposed? It is defeated. So we'll move forward with 9.4, my apologies. RFP-OPS-2025-013 wastewater environmental assessment and preliminary design, Lansdowne Pumping Station and Lagoons. Motion comes forward from Councillor Kelman, seconded by Councillor Maybe, that the Committee of the Whole recommends that council authorize staff to engage JL Richards and Associates Limited for request for proposal RFP-OPS-2025-013 wastewater environmental assessment and preliminary design, Lansdowne Pumping Station and Lagoons, in the amount of $245,563.16, inclusive of the net HST, and that the additional required budget to complete the municipal class environmental assessment and preliminary design for the Lansdowne Pumping Station and Lagoons be included in the 2026 capital budget. Discussion on the motion. Go ahead, Councillor Lackey.
Thank you, Your Worship. I've read it, but I want to hear it through someone else's voice, because this is the one I believe we're, 95,000 over our projected cost on this RFP. So I'm just wondering how we got so far away on that one.
Go ahead, Director Holliday.
Thank you, through your worship. When we first started talking about this, it was 2022, and a cost estimate was provided at that time to do the work from our consultants who were doing the water EA and preliminary design. So it's been 3 years since that time, and these are the costs that we're seeing now as a result of that time. But at the same time, it didn't make sense to move forward with the wastewater EA without having an idea of where we were going to be with the water. So now that we have a better idea of where the water is in terms of our permit to take water, what our capacity will be, now we're at the stage to move forward with the wastewater as well.
Okay, you have a follow-up?
Thank you, Your Worship. No, I just find that's in percentages, that's quite a lot of increase from our projection. And I understand the difference between 2020 and 2025, but I'm sure our brain works that way too, where we would expect increases. I don't know, it just seems that, we have our mindset. We've been down this road before on several items where we have our mind here and all of a sudden we're here with anything in between that would indicate we've done our due diligence to look into it, to see, if in fact, how much more this is going to be, instead of coming to us at 150,000 and now we're at 245.
So just to follow up on the comment that Councillor Lackey has just made, as far as RFPs are concerned, I'm assuming that there was more than one quote gap. Sorry, I'm trying to go back. I've read too many packages right now. Don't know what that was about. Go ahead.
Yes, we actually only received one bid on this. I've given that JL Richards did the water, and they have all the background of what is feeding into the wastewater system. There doesn't seem to be an appetite for any other consultant to do the background work that they've already completed. And as a result, they were the only one to submit a bid on this.
Go ahead, Councillor Maybe.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and through you. So in a Cole's notes for the rest of the people, what is this going to give us? Like, I know what we have read here, but it's just a short little verb there. So if you can give us more detail, it would be appreciated.
Thank you, through your worship. So similar to what we completed with the water system, where it looked at what our capacity was for the short, medium, and long term, this will do the same thing, and it will size our system to be able to accommodate that growth. Not only for the short term, but also for that medium term, like we did with the water system, and then It'll give us the plan on what we need to do for the long term as well to handle the ultimate build out of the village. And when the report that was provided by, or the, I forget what they called it, but the report that was provided by J.L. Richards in 2022 told us, at ultimate build out, we're going to need like 3,700 cubic meters of water per day. We're not building we're not looking at the system in terms of that at this point. It's how do we get to the next 15, 20 years and then look at what the requirements are beyond that. And they'll provide us that information as well.
So from the context of the water side, which we've done, we found out that we were taking so much percentage per day. And we can go up to a certain percentage based on the Minister of Environment, correct? So in this case, if we're looking at output, we know we're going through this, we're going to find out what our maximum output we can receive is and what capacity we have left for the build, and then what we may need to do to expand that, correct?
Correct. So similar to what the water was with the storage and the amount of flow that we needed, this looks at the amount of flow required through the pumping station to get to the lagoons, and then ultimately the size of the lagoons or future alternative treatments that will be required to accommodate that flow at the same time. So where we're at right now, we know that we're running close to that requirement to start looking at this, where if we hit beyond 80%, the ministry knocks on the door and says, you guys need to start thinking about your next plan. Well, we're with future developments, I think it was 67 lots that we were looking at before we hit that 80% threshold. Once we get beyond that 67 lots, that's when the ministry will knock on the door and say, what's your plan? And this is the plan.
This is preempting that knock on the door.
That is correct.
Okay. Okay, I have Counselor maybe and then Deputy Mayor Fody, and then any other follow-up from the other side of the
And
table.
just as a follow-up on the money part, we budgeted 150, the 95,000 is coming from where?
So through your worship, the plan was to include that in the 2026 budget.
Mr. Treasurer?
Yeah, through you, Mayor. So the 150 was included this year, the additional 100, because all that money's not going to be expensed before year end, is my understanding. So basically we will include an additional 100,000 or 90,000 and change in the 2026 budget to also come from the wastewater reserve.
And then just one follow-up. When is the work to be started and completed from JL?
So it's, through your worship, similar to the water where we had started that in 2022, this is going to take some time to complete that. We have to look at the capacity of the treatment facility. We have to look at the capacity of the lagoons. We have to host the PIC and provide all of the alternatives, look at what land we have, what land will be required, all of those different variables. We have a pretty good sense of the capacity of our distribution network, so we're not worried about that at this point, but it's more receiving all of the flow that will come as a result of growth going forward. So that it will take, I would think, a couple of years before we have that finalized.
Does this include illegal connections? Sorry, I'm not using the right terminology to the public. I apologize. It's there's something else that's called.
We are not looking at cross connections as part of this or flows that come in from stormwater. This is
Or sump pumps or downspouts or
Ultimately,
anything of those nature. Okay.
Yeah, this is more looking at the end, and what capacity we have. So they have a sense of what the requirement should be based on how many people per household, how many households. So it's looking at all of that system and then ultimately giving us the plan to move forward on what the most cost-effective options are.
Okay. Thank you. Deputy Mayor Fody, you have something to add?
Thank you, Your Worship, through you. I too thought that was pretty excessive when the very company that projected 150,000 then turned around and raised it 95,500 plus. But you're saying this is over a 3-year window now? So it's technically a 30-some thousand plus annual increase?
That is correct. This will be a multi-year program that it'll take us 1 to 2 years in order to be able to complete this stage as we did with the previous one.
But this RFP is locked in because they won the bid on that.
That is correct.
Thank you.
Any further comments or questions? I've got no other hands up, so I will call the question. All those in favor? All those opposed? And it is carried. Okay. So number 10, 10.1, council vacancy, Ward 3, Madam Clerk or Madam, anybody want to speak to this?
Sure, I can speak to it.
ahead.
So as council is aware, there is a vacancy in Ward 3. Councillor Gorell has tendered his resignation effective September 30th. So this is an information report coming forward, and at the council meeting next week, there will be a report like we saw previous in the year with options on how to fill that. We'll also be asking you to actually formally declare the seat vacant.
At the council meeting
At
next
the
week.
council meeting, yes, it has to be a formal council meeting.
Okay. Any questions for the clerk in regards to that staff report? Sure, come forward, please.
My name is Terry Flanagan, 16 Old River Road. I'm a resident of that ward, and I'm just curious if in the event there is a concern, where do we direct our questions or problems to?
You can always reach out to staff at any given time, as well as any other elected official. Despite the ward system being in place, we all represent all taxpayers within the municipality. So you can reach out to any one of the elected officials.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Go ahead. I'm going to. Any further comments or questions? Okay, thank you very much. Information items, AMO Indigenous Reconciliation Action Plan, and information update from the TLTI Library. Any comments or questions in regards to the information items? We do have Cindy Code here if anybody has questions in regards to the information update from the library. Go ahead, Councillor Maybe.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and through you. I thought the AMO Indigenous Recognition Action Plan was very well done. A lot of the good guiding values and principles there, that which I do see in other things that we do, including our land acknowledgement. It's funny how I see parts of it there. So it was good to see, and it's a good read, I have to admit. I actually forwarded it on to somebody else who is dealing with this type of thing too. So I thought it was a very good report.
Any other questions in regards to 11.1 or 11.2? I have Deputy Mayor Fody and then Councillor Antoine Hartley.
Thank you, Your Worship, and through you to Cindy from the library. It goes without saying, your guiding hand here at the library is palpable. We can see what you're doing here and have done in the past number of years. And I commend you for your foresight and the direction you're giving all three of our libraries. And it's reflected well throughout the residents. You know, I have yet to hear a negative, a negative comment about the libraries at all. So you're doing a tremendous job. Thank you.
Any other comments? Oh, sorry, Councillor Antoine Hartley. My apologies.
No problem. Through you, Chair. I just was wondering, earlier in the year, I can't remember what month it was, we had the policy on Indigenous, where we did the acknowledgement, but we only did the acknowledgement. We only passed that. Just wondering when we can, and we sent staff back to, I think, to provide some further information for council on the policies and stuff like that. So I'm just wondering if we're going to see that anytime soon.
Councillor Comment?
Thank you, Your Worship. I've already indicated to the clerk I'm going to bring forward a notice of motion tonight.
Great minds think alike. Councillor Maybe?
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. Just to follow up on the TLTI library, looks like Cindy again doing a great job, and had participated in one of my events earlier this year also, as I am going to reciprocate later on this month. And you know, with the grant money and all the things that you're doing, it's great to see the numbers that you're able to provide us and keep us updated. Thank you.
Well, you took all my wind out of my sails on that. No, it's fine. No, I'm just very grateful for Cindy and all of her staff that work so hard to make sure that the library is a welcoming place for all, and all the work they do to engage both families, older folks, younger folks, and all the people that came to read to the kids in the summer. Like, it's a lot of work to do all that organizing, but it's so worth it to see people engaged. And even coming up, I'm not sure if there's usually the tree lighting and all the other stuff that happens, and they're involved with that. So it's just a consistent effort from you and your folks, and we're very appreciative. So thank you very much. Thanks. Okay, moving on to Rise and Report minutes from committees, working groups, and local boards. 12.1 Recreation Working Group and the Leeds County OPP Detachment Board. So any comments in regards to the Recreation Working Group? Go ahead, Councillor Antoine Hartley.
Just wondering, I know in the past, just wondering if there was any discussion around the replacement of the gazebo at the Centennial Park in Sillies Bay. That's
the teepee?
Yeah.
Yes.
Because I didn't see it included in this report.
Mr. Holliday?
Thank you, through your worship. There was discussion regarding that item at the Recreation Working Group. And next week, we will have an updated report coming through with more detailed analysis of what we discussed and for council's engagement. And then going forward from there, we'll have another meeting and some action items to move forward with to bring to council for budget consideration as well.
Thank you. Mr. Lackey, anything to report from the OPP Detachment Board?
I think I mentioned at the last meeting. I think the most important part is that we're going to be on the hunt for a new commander. As Commander Hardy has been seconded by RCMP, so that'll be next on our agenda at the board, is to get the process going. Acting commander at this point is Brian Jones. Yes. So.
And if I'm not mistaken, I read in my emails that the detachment is under renovation.
It is.
Will be.
Working out of Brockville.
So just for the public's interest, if you need to go to a detachment, you cannot go to the Leeds or the Thousand Islands detachment here in Lansdowne, as it is currently under renovation and will be headquartered in Brockville up Highway 29. I'm assuming that's the detachment. Until further notice, until the renovations are complete. Go ahead, Councillor Maybe.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I had one question on the OPP report that I seen, and it was, what is the insurance for? And the province is self-insured. So I was kind of going, why are they seeking insurance?
Go ahead.
It's the board itself. As any sitting board, it covers us.
Go ahead, Councillor Antoine Hartley.
Through your chair, just wondering if we are going to have a peer report soon. A peer report.
Peer working group.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Treasurer.
Through you, Mayor, yes, we will have one coming shortly.
Okay, great. Thank you. Because I really like to hear what's going on in the villages.
Fair enough. Okay, any other questions in regards to the Recreation Working Group and Leeds County OPP Detachment Board? Oh.
Just because a lot of talk tonight about Cindy in the library, a lot of input from the library in the recreation.
Great.
Yes, a lot. So
That's awesome.
It's great having that communication between the two.
Perfect. I think we finally hit our stride with the Recreation Working Group. Took us a few tries, but we got there. So, okay, no other hands up. So we'll move on to notices of motion. Ms. Kelman, you have one.
Yes, given the comments made by Councillor Maybe and Councillor Antoine Hartley, I do want to make a notice of motion to bring back the Indigenous Peoples Relations Consultation and Communication Policy. It was deferred indefinitely. There was a really strong focus on right relations within our Indigenous peoples at AMO, and I'm really glad that this report, the report from AMO, the action plan, came to council, and I hope everyone did read it. I think you will when we review the policy again that we had come from our consultants, you'll see a lot of similarities between the language. And I think this is the time to act. So I'd like to see that brought back.
Okay, so notice of motion is on the table. Any other notices of motion? Go ahead, Mr. Lackey.
Thanks, Your Worship. I'm on the fence on this, but our deputation tonight, well, there's two sides to every story. I wonder if I might bring forward a motion just to have staff bring forward a short report as to how we'll address something of this similarity moving forward, if there's a way, because some of the recommendations brought forward had indicated that we could have reached out in an easy way to look
So
after
what you're-
some of this.
So what you're looking for is a discussion on policy on how we treat past due accounts before we send them.
Yes, in that, we don't end up having one sit for 4 years and,
Okay.
we haven't reached out or tried to reach out.
It's really
Not that
more
it's-
about a discussion.
Again, it's the responsibility of many people, but, as maybe there's a staff could bring back in this report something that closely represents, the corporation's interest as far as, I think you quoted that his interest was around $5,500.
$5,800. Yeah.
Now I know being in business, it's your money. You're not a bank. You need to collect something for your trouble and somebody using your money. I don't know what we're charging, but anyway, I'm just asking that we
Just have a
address-
better understanding
we
of
address
what
the issue.
steps we take. Go ahead, Mr. Treasurer.
Through you, Mayor, I could provide some quick clarity now. So the interest charge is 1.25% monthly. That's in accordance with the Municipal Act and approved through bylaw every year with the tax rates. In speaking to accounts that we do get returned to sender, we do follow a process. We typically we will always check with MPAC to see if they've updated it through that. In this case, it had not been. We do Google searches, but as anyone knows, most names aren't unique to one person. How do we know which one is who?
We have a privacy rule that we.
In addition, we do typically, because in our municipality, there are a number of properties that are typically cottages or second dwellings. If we get returned to sender because the mail address is probably their permanent address and another thing, we do send change of address forms to the physical property. Now, Canada Post has some rules around cottages and if they have boxes and not, but we do send that change of address to the physical property in the hopes that if they attend the property and they get that, that'll be a reminder, hey, I need to change my address with the billing. So we do a number of things. We also post on the website. It's very clear. Not receiving a bill does not excuse you from your responsibility. We do the best we can because we prefer to get taxes. But ultimately it's people's responsibilities.
You're going to leave it then?
Yeah, sounds like it, as long as that's been relayed to the taxpayer.
I believe that it has, but
I'm okay with that.
okay.
I'll move on to another one.
Okay.
I would like to bring forth a notice of motion that staff reach back out and look at our outstanding resolutions from the past. We've had several. I know Councillor Maybe has asked about flashing stoplight, which I know is going to be covered under this 401 plan. Since 2006, we've pounded the pavement on natural gas. Have not heard one thing in all that time, not one, of we can get it, we can't get it, we can get it if we pay this, or it'll cost that. We've passed resolutions and we've given directions to staff to follow up. We have not had them, and I know there's numerous ones out there. And if anybody can think of any, add it to the list. There's a lot of things that get lost
In the shuffle.
around here, and I'd like a lot of them not to be lost. That's why we capture them at council meetings. So if you don't want to follow up, let us know.
Okay. I think that's a reasonable ask and hopefully not an unreasonable task. I know that our, it's not our bylaws. Sometimes it's hard to search them. So the clerk's looking forward to that. I can tell. Making the list. Any other notices of motion? Seeing none, we'll move forward with statements or announcements from councillors. Councillor Maybe?
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and through you. Recently, we attended the Thousand Islands Chamber of Commerce gala at the casino, and several awards were handed out. Some of us had the opportunity to actually present, so that was quite a nice evening. I don't remember all the people who won, by the way. That's why I'm not mentioning them, but I'm sure we can post it somewhere at some point. Thanksgiving coming up this weekend, as well as October 25th, Library Week, and where I'll be town crier presenting at the TLTI, having a good time crying. So it'll be fun. The Santa Claus Parade again in Gananoque, November 29th. Looking forward to that. And then another thing that's happening is at Town of Gananoque on November 25th, raising of the flag for Interval House, which will be up until December 10th. So another agency that definitely needs some assistance and help. Thank you.
And Councillor or Deputy Mayor Fody?
Thank you, Your Worship, and through you. Am I okay in requesting an in-camera session for next week's council meeting regarding municipal drains?
You would need to talk to the clerk about whether it meets in camera guidelines, and then the clerk and CIO, acting CIO, can make that call.
Okay, and that's Tuesday, right? Next week? Right.
Oh, right, because it's Monday. I'm like, what? Yeah, I'm only dealing with 1 or 2 days ahead, so I'm not that far ahead yet.
Thank you.
So for Tuesday next week, yeah, the agenda will go out on Thursday, which means you would need to speak to them tomorrow.
I'll do that tonight.
Do that tomorrow.
I'll do
Okay?
that tonight.
Thank you. Any other statements or announcements from councillors? Go ahead, Councillor Antoine Hartley.
Yeah, turned it on. Through you, Chair, just a reminder that on the 16th, there's going to be a public meeting on the revisioning of the fire hall in Sealy's Bay. And also that Sabara will have their AGM on the 23rd. It was supposed to be the 16th, but we've moved it to accommodate that public meeting. And just to let you know too, that the Legion in Sealy's Bay is having open mic every Sunday afternoon. Now, I did go to karaoke last week and I sang. We're not going to say much more about that, but it was fun. So just remember that those things are going on in the communities. Thank you.
Deputy Mayor Fody, go ahead.
Thank you, Your Worship. I overlooked the fact that I just wanted to comment on MTO's open house, excuse me, last Thursday night in Gananoque from 4 till 8. It was just a drop-in session upstairs where they presented the whole format in the engineers did as to what they saw that didn't pass the muster test and what they saw that could. And it was well presented. There was a lot of information there. They did hand out a pamphlet, like about a 20-page piece to anybody that want to take it with them. They're asking for more public comment. There will be another public meeting about a year from now. But I think for those that want to see what's happening between Kingston and Brockville, and that's the segment they're focusing on right now. I think one of the more notable things I noted on that, just a proposal, was the removal of the bridge just to the west of the casino. The Gananoque Underpass Bridge, they've got a proposal on there that that bridge be taken totally off the map and put in a roundabout there. And I thought that was different. When you looked at what they had created, it wasn't totally wrong when you look at it. But I think the bigger reason became evident when you went around and looked at the boards that were up on display, segmented, was the end of life for a number of bridges and culverts in that same segment of highway. They have to do something anyway with a lot of these bridges and culverts, and thus the timeline now for involving the public if they care to weigh in on any of this. And they were getting good feedback. There was a reasonably good crowd there that night. Thank you.
I'd be interested in seeing that pamphlet, seeing it where that roundabout might be located and what might come off of
It
that.
basically substitutes the bridge. They're going to take out all the embankments up either side. It would be brought down to ground level. And basically where the bridge sits now would be a roundabout.
I have a personal interest, but anyways, go ahead.
Just to dovetail that, so we will have a presentation at the Committee of the Whole from the designers on November the 3rd.
So MTO is coming here to give us our own presentation.
AECOM is coming, yes, to present both projects. So there are two projects, one that runs through Gananoque to Highway 2, and the one that runs from Highway 2 to Mallory Town.
Excellent.
And
Okay.
both design groups will be here.
So those will be at the Committee of the Whole and open for public attendance, obviously. Okay. Awesome. Thank you. I'm still interested in to know how that's going to go. Anyway, any other statements from councillors? Go ahead, Councillor Kelman.
Thank you, Your Worship. And through you, I just wanted to let everyone know the North Leeds Youth Coordinating Committee that I sit on has started up again for the year. It serves the Ward 2, basically the northern part of TLTI and most of Rideau Lakes Township. And if anyone out there is part of an organization that would like to be part of that committee, you are welcome to attend. The next meeting is November 19th at 12:30 at Rideau District High School. And basically we collect funds and then redistribute them for any sort of programming or equipment or whatever might be needed for children and youth in our community.
Thank you. Any other statements or announcements? Okay, on to the mayor's update. I will be brief. Truth and Reconciliation was on September 30th. I do hope that all took a moment to pause. My son missed the bus that morning, and it was the best 30 minutes I've spent with my youngest in a while, having a pretty in-depth conversation about some family and some friends and how this touched our family in a personal way. And I think it's one of those days that does give you the pause to and the permission, though we don't need the permission, to really contemplate what happened and where we're headed from then. So I know that that was a holiday or a day off of work for some not, but nonetheless a day to reflect. The Truffle Shuffle that happened out in Sealy's Bay looked like it was very well attended. And just another comment in regards to the chamber event. So we had a great turnout from council. So thank you to all the council members that came. One just sent his wife instead. He's looking away. It was really great to see some of our businesses recognized for their hard work. City Cruises is one of them, Slates Marine and the Thousand Islands Association, I think, are all businesses that have locations here in the municipality. Thousand Islands Association, just another plug for all the work that they've done in regards to the work with the fire department with this recent drought. It was a really Herculean effort over the summer for our volunteers, but also the work that Thousand Islands does as a volunteer group to help arrange those education days and get everybody prepared for the worst case scenario. Hopefully it never happens. And lastly, I'd like to make a comment in regards to Councillor Gorell's departure. We were very disappointed to receive his resignation. Councillor Gorell has been a very wanted and needed addition to this council table. We understand that he had his reasons for stepping back, and we do wish him all the best. However, Councillor Gorell had a unique ability to really dive into the meat of things and really go through different, probably difficult readings, if you will, to try to understand them. And I always appreciated his tenacity. So we do wish him the best, and sorry to see him go. And I guess as of next week, we will see what the steps are, what council chooses to fill that position, because even though we're just over a year away from the next election, we require to fill that vacancy. So to the folks that are here from the Rockport area, please note to tune in next week to find out which direction council takes regarding replacement. There's four different ways to do it. So it'll be up to council to make that decision, and then we will publicize that decision either way, and then we'll move forward from there. So all the best to Councillor Gorell and his future endeavors, and his family as well. So next on the list is a closed session if required, and we did not require one this evening. So we'll move forward with adjournment and moved by Councillor Lackey, seconded by Councillor Kelman, that committee of the whole adjourn at 7:19 p.m. All those in favor of adjournment?